So let's talk about the Bulls. The Bulls are a team which have recently undergone a lot of hate and a lot of, criticism in their franchise for the past 3 years. The Bulls are a franchise which they looked to go all in. And if you guys don't know, when you go all in with a franchise, that basically means that you put all your assets and you basically freeze your franchise, right? Until you could get enough picks to win and enough assets to win a lot of games, right? You get the picks, you tank for a while normally, right? And then what you do is that you come back with your new look roster where you could finally, have a competitive roster out there to compete for a championship. The problem with the Bulls is that they just got one star and looked to build around the star, but it just never worked out for them. And the Bulls, they have had a trajectory of losing for a while, which has not served them the best, as they've consistently been a team which has been, expected to be good or at least to be, decent. But honestly, when we really look at the Bulls and what they do and how they've ran their franchise, it's kind of sad in the position that they are now, where they find themselves, right? Because when we really look at the Bulls as a whole, they're not a horrible team. They just have, their management has just been pretty terrible throughout these years, right? So let's start with Zach Lavine. And Zach Lavine was supposed to be the franchise guy for this team. He was supposed to be the player who carried them out of the mud, who got them into the playoffs, who got them a big role, who made them be the team which they're going to be for the future. But this never happened. The reason why is because Zach Lavine was never meant to be a franchise player. And let's just be serious about that. He's probably meant to be a number 3 more than he's meant to be a number 2 or a number 1. Because he's so unclutch that it hurts to just look at him, right? And say that this is the guy who you want running your franchise. As soon as the Bulls realized this, right, what they did was something that was pretty smart, right? They got the salary and the contracts to work. They got the money to work so that they signed DeMar DeRozan in free agency. Now, if you guys don't know, DeMar DeRozan is one of the players which he's been great, but he was also known for being on clutch, right? But this year, it's like the Bulls took a chance on him because they were like, yo, this dude is going to be good. He's going to be a good player, and he's going to help us, get to that place where we want to be. And this was basically the goal for them for a while. Just get into the playoffs, make something happen, make some noise. As the city of Chicago, if you guys don't know, they're a city of winners, right? And that's been the case because of Michael Jordan for forever, where they're a city who expects, and this not just that they look for, they expect to win. And honestly, when you put it into that context, we could always see that honestly that has caused the Bulls to have a curse over themselves for a while, right? The Bulls are a franchise which, they don't need that expectation. They shouldn't have such a big expectation, but because they are the Chicago Bulls, they do, right? And honestly, that has caused the Bulls to always have struggles, right, with their players, with their management, because people go to the Bulls to win, right? People don't go to the Bulls to be a puny rebuilding franchise. Chicago is a great city. It's a city of champions, right? Or at least it's proven to be. And it's a city which has shown out as one of the best cities in terms of, history because of Michael Jordan, right? So when we come back to it, we look at it from a bird's eye view and we're like, so are they going to win anything? And the answer is always no. And that's what's made Chicago be in such a gutter every single time. They're a great city. They have a great fan base who supports them. Their fans are actually loyal. They're not like Laker fans who became Laker fans due to Kobe and now have just stuck around because they got LeBron. Because with other franchises, there's a lot of unloyalty or like conditional loyalty. With the Lakers, with the Bulls, it hasn't really been like that. They've always been a franchise which has had 100% loyalty from their fans and who have always like fought to give their fans what they want, but it hasn't succeeded. In this new saga of basketball, the Bulls have fought to be great, right? And to keep themselves alive, but it really hasn't worked for them. And now, in my opinion, it has to be done. They have to rebuild, and that's just the reality of it, right? Like, I'm sorry, but when we really look at the Bulls as a whole, right, we have to say, like, that it's been enough, right? Like, I think that it would serve you more to have a higher draft pick than it would serve you to keep doing this train of, oh, is Lonzo going to play? Is Zach Lavine going to play? Or are you guys actually going to be good this year? And then be routinely disappointed each year by the results as fans, right? Like the Bulls organization, yes, they've had struggles, but every organization at one point in their history has struggles, and you have to understand them, right? Because honestly, let's face it, if every organization would be as perfect as someone like Miami or someone like the Lakers, where they have, gotten on their feet up so quickly, then maybe, the NBA would be probably would be boring because we wouldn't have any parity or any distinctions. So honestly, the Bulls have tried, the Bulls have failed, the Bulls have succeeded, but with this lineup currently, Zach Lavine is not Derrick Rose or Michael Jordan or Artis Gilmore. DeMar DeRozan is neither of them either. And even though I do want to say I'm not throwing shade to DeMar because DeMar has been phenomenal for the Bulls. He's beat the expectations that they had for him by a wide margin, if we're being honest. Like, he's really exceeded whatever any Bulls fan thought that DeMar was going to do on that team. He's really, lit up the place, gave them game winners after game winners, gave them moments to remember. And in my opinion, even if, DeMar gets moved because the franchise goes another way, I do feel like they're going to have, a remembrance for DeMar DeRozan. Like, he's going to become a fan favorite eventually when it comes to like the history books of the Bulls, because how much he's provided for that franchise when he didn't have to do all of this, right? Like, he was supposed to be he came into the lineup to be the second guy to Zach Lavine, and then he just took over the team completely, and now Zach Lavine is the second guy to him. So I feel like that's pretty crazy. But honestly, I just wanted to say that with all this situation, the Bulls need to stand up and do something. They need to put, all of this to rest and be like, okay, it's either one of three things that they can do. The Bulls can either find a new coach, use all of their assets to go get a superstar, or they can fully rebuild and reinstate their whole lineup just to make this, situation which they have right now not be a complete disaster and not pay anything. So it's either one of those three things that the Bulls have to do just to maintain themselves on their feet. The Bulls, with this lineup right now, they haven't worked. I think everyone knows, and everyone is going to know, that this Bulls saga failed. Lonzo can't stay healthy, and that's supposed to be the point guard for the future. Zach Lavine is not him. DeMar DeRozan is way too good, but he gets routinely, sold out by his teammates. And Vucevic only plays well when he needs to play well. Like last season, he only played well because it was his contract year. So with the Bulls, It's over. They need to make a change before it's too late.